Hello friends, and welcome back to the Oak and Fern Homestead. My name is Marlene, and welcome to one of our first videos. A little origin story of our gardening experience is, I think we started gardening 2019, we tried. And I'm talking to my teenager, right? You'd say we tried?
We only tried. It didn't work.
It did not. Because our native soil is very clay-like. Clay, mushy, like if it got wet, it would turn to sludge, like stone. It was so dry. It was just not in good condition when we started gardening, and we threw carrot seeds in the ground against the fence. Just in the bare ground, no amendments, carrot seeds. Like maybe the hardest thing to just grow. But we did it, and we got and we grew, well, it might have been on season, right? Like January, December, and then come May, we got like the carrots that were like 2 inches big. And we were so excited. And this was days before our youngest baby was born. I remember thinking like, this was such a victory. I even have pictures, and if I find some, I'll have to put some up here. I thought it was such a victory. We had like 4 baby carrots, and we were like, we are farmers. It was our garden, and that was it. We were hooked. After that, we're like, okay, well, like we'll have to try again. And then our garden consisted of planting things again in the bare ground. I knew nothing. In the bare, hard, cracked soil, what did we grow? Do you remember what we grew?
We grew peppers.
Oh, yes, we tried tomatoes. And they were the saddest tomatoes I've ever seen in my life. I think they were like a squiggly twig with like 5 cherry tomatoes. And then we thought we made it. So we put a play yard on top of that area, and I was like, okay, now I'm gonna garden. And I remember getting grow bags, and this must have been like 2020, when we were like, well, like we have nothing better to do but garden and really try this time. I put grow bags on either side of the play yard. Do you remember this? And then the flimsiest wire, like that green wire that you can get in a roll of 40 feet at Home Depot, that's what I got, and I put it over the play yard, and in my mind it was going to be luscious. It was going to be grand. But it was not. I grew like
Watermelons.
We tried to grow watermelon on it. That did not work. Again, irrigation was not a thing in our garden yet. Like we didn't have that squared in. So it was just in grow bags, which lose water rather quickly, or they dry up rather quickly too, because there's air all around the pot. So so if I wasn't watering them every day, and watermelons require quite a bit of water to get them up to their place before you cut the water off. Beans, like sunset runner beans, I tried growing over the trellis, and peas, and I can't remember exactly, but here I was like making a trellis with like 2 feet, like the flimsy T-posts that you can get at the hardware store. I staked them into the ground. I had these grow bags at the bottom on like 4 corners of the play yard, and then over the play yard, my dreams of having a canopy with like fruit that the children could pick from. It was a disaster, but it was a learning lesson. I learned that like that wasn't gonna work for us long term. My dreams of having like an edible play yard was not gonna work. It was just a good learning experience. What came next? Then we got our first 6-in-1 bed from Birdie's. That got put in like the one corner that we had behind, which was pretty much full shade, right? Wouldn't you say their last bed is like full shade?
Yeah.
But we loved it. We loved it so much because we finally had a place that we could plant that was not a grow bag, that was not the hard compact ground. The 6-in-1, we grew strawberries and pansies, a ton of pansies.
That was fun.
And what else did we grow in there? I think that's what it was, the tall one, like 30 inches high. And then there we grew strawberries, and because we had them growing over the edge, and Swiss chard, and a lot of Swiss chard in that bed. I think that was like our Swiss chard bed. Again, not the ideal location for sun. Like, but that fun didn't stop then. Come 2021, I saved up a little bit and I got us 2 more 8-in-1 beds at the end of the season for my birthday. I remember it was like my birthday's in the end of July. I ordered 2 of them. I think they were on a wait list. Like, I had to wait for them. They might have come early August. Like, I ordered them way ahead of time. My dad brought me, he has a horse, and he brought me horse manure because I was looking for the most budget-friendly way to fill them. And the manure was so hot. And I remember being so excited but so crushed because I stuck a thermometer in it and it was a ripping 140 degrees. Like, it was hot to the touch. Like, I couldn't stick my hand in the pile for very long without feeling like, ooh, ooh, ah. So we filled the beds with manure. Like, this was a truckload of manure, and covered them because the flies were insatiable. Like, we brought the flies to our neighborhood. But the real fun came spring 2022 when I fully planted the 2 8-in-1s. That was like our first real big I did it moment where, like, we actually had successful tomatoes. We actually had unrelenting zucchini plants and all of the things. We pulled garlic from the bed because there was garlic in half of the bed from about early November to June. Half of the bed was garlic, and eggplants and cucumbers, and all of the things that came out of that bed were just incredible because it finally felt like we did it. Here we are, early 2022. Yeah? 22, no, not right now, but last year, at the beginning of last year. We had a big giant tree in our yard, and we knew it had to come down. It made too much of a mess for us to clean up. It dropped red berries. It is a South African tree. They taste like mangoes. The berries are about an inch, but it wasn't worth it. Like, we didn't eat the berries.
Nope.
And all of the neighborhood rodents did. So it brought all of those, and like all of the crows would come and the birds would come and eat them and then leave like just a mess. And we had, I'll put a picture here of the tree and the funky succulent bed that we tried. We really wanted to make this space work, but in the end we decided the tree was not doing us any favors. Like, we loved this tree and we grew emotionally attached, and we felt like we were sacrificing the tree, and we didn't want to get rid of it for years. We kept it for and by they, I mean my dad and my husband. They say it wasn't an impulse, but I think it was very much an impulse. Grandpa came over with a chainsaw, multiple chainsaws, rope, the thing. They were supposed to just break down the concrete that was around the tree so that we could have someone come and remove the tree. But they broke the concrete, set it to the side, and then said, well, why don't we just chop some of the tree limbs? That's how the story goes. So long. And then finally, we chopped it down. They cut the tree down. The tree laid in our backyard for about a week. We got a tree company to come remove the tree because it'd been in our yard for a week and we couldn't muster the energy to pick up a yard's worth of tree. Wood, stumps, limbs, like it was the mountain, and I was afraid I'd never see my backyard again. I'm kidding. I knew we would, but it felt like, oh my gosh, what a task. What a task. Put it away, and then we had someone come and take the concrete that had been broken up. There was 2 concrete slabs, and we had those broken up because they didn't make sense. They weren't connected. They were just what used to be a patio, and had all of that removed. And the thought was that we were going to put down a about 19 by 20 foot concrete slab. And we got quotes for that. And it was kind of expensive for, like, it was expensive. That kind of work is expensive. But we didn't feel like this was the ticket, at least. Like, we just kept holding off for a few weeks. Now, this all happened within like a couple of weeks. Like, it was really, really fast. I had thought that it would be lovely to have an in-ground garden in what used to be the whole tree, concrete, messy, shady area. But I didn't want to feel like I was taking over our garden. I had that thought, but I didn't want to take over, and I didn't want the whole garden, the whole yard to be a garden. It felt like we still needed living space. Like we still needed a designated hangout area in our yard that we didn't have yet. But we still wanted to keep our grass, a little area of the grass. So then finally one night we were sitting out there just humming and hawing and hemming, like like my husband and I were out there on the couch that we had got for our concrete slab that now we were reluctant to put in. And he said, what if you turn that into a garden? We have garden, grass, garden, and then like a little patio. And then I couldn't let the idea go. He said, yes. What if it was a garden? And I flipped out. Like I was like, okay, it's a garden. It's done. And then I checked in a few days later and I said, okay, are we really making this a garden? And I remember him saying yes. I do not remember otherwise. Because I also said, we're getting quotes for this area to be a concrete patio for about 9 to 10 grand. I could turn this into a productive garden space for under $500. And I think that might have been the ticket. Like if I do all of the work, I plant and I plan and I do everything and I take care of it, like this is a garden space that I have been dreaming of, then why not? Like this is our answer. So I called in 3 yards of compost and like 13 bags of amendments. And by amendments, it was like cow manure and chicken manure and maybe some, that was it. Chicken steer, and then like 3 yards of compost. And I did the in-ground method. So the idea was that it would all be flowers because I wanted to be, I still do. But in that moment last year, I just remember like, I need to become a regenerative flower farmer. Oh my gosh, there's a picture in my daughter's sketchbook of me and my ideas of what I was going to complete. This is hilarious. Memorial Day weekend, he put down 40 90-pound pavers, and like we had to dig that area out. And so it's like the pavers are 2 feet squares, and so we had a lot of extra dirt that we had to take, and because we had to dig deeper to put the layer of rock and bags and bags and bags and bags and bags of rock to have it be a drainable area so that it would stand the test of time. Like if we were going to do this, we were going to do it well.
So we dug the area, like rototilled the area to like get it up, and then we took that soil and put it in the walkways because the way that I had left the dirt.
Finished that garden or that patio area, and then I irrigated it all and set that up, which was very simple. And then I planted, and that was that. And that is the story of how our garden came to be. Following along, and if you had fun chatting and listening to me tell you about our garden, I encourage you to subscribe and help us grow this community. Leave a comment and tell me a funny garden story. So anyway, I appreciate all of the support, and we all do. This is a whole family ordeal and we're all invested. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.